Chapter 3, Mommie Dearest, continued. I don't even know what they were playing half the time. All I remember is there was big money involved. None of that penny ante stuff. The grown-ups participating would pay my older sister and I money to go run and get them food because they didn't want to get up from the table. I recall going to bed with my mom playing cards and waking up to her still playing cards. To this day, I'm not really sure how much money Mama earned from her gambling, but I'll bet she made a whole lot more than she lost. She not only played cards at home, but she also frequented Dover Downs Casino. She did that often as well. Now, my stepdad, Tim, he helped to bring some joy to my childhood, but he brought along some pain too. When I got into trouble, he would punish me by whipping me with a razor strap all over my naked body. You know that razor strap that's like in the barbershop that they sharpen the razor blades with? That's what I was spanked with. But if it weren't for Tim, my big sister Crystal, my little sister Talia, and I, in the middle, wouldn't have gone to the movies and McDonald's all the time. We wouldn't have gone on trips because, see, Tim was a Secret Service agent, so we traveled quite a bit. We traveled whenever the president traveled. And, Mama was too busy working and gambling to be a part of our life as Tim was. She didn't go to the movies with us or attend school plays or go to movies with us or attend, even talent shows at all. I don't recall her ever attending a talent show, to be honest. I remember being envious of the little girls at school whose parents were so involved with the PTA and all their activities. They came to school for everything. And I still look with envy at women today who have great relationships with their moms because I never had that. It's something I always wanted. I didn't think I'd ever have it. It turned out that Tim didn't come into my life until I was 2. When my mother remarried after splitting from my biological father, formerly known as Randolph Bowman, now Bowman Horton, aka Reds, but that's a story for later. This gets a little complicated, so let me break it down. My sister Crystal actually had a different father, but Mama split from him because he was a drug dealer and he personally indulged as well. And to her credit, my mother didn't want that influence around us. So soon after she met Reds adopted Crystal and she took on his last name. So that's how my older sister and I have the same last name. This is where the heartwarming part would happen, except that Reds would become a drug dealer for a time too. My mother instilled in us a zero tolerance policy for drugs. It's one of the positive things she gave us, along with the bond that she helped to build between my sisters and me. As I write these words, I have not indulged in drug use at all, with the exception of a few edibles here over the last couple of years. I owe her for that. Another wonderful quality of hers was that she insisted no kid ever be treated poorly due to mistakes made by the adults around them. That's kind of it for the positive stuff. I know that may sound like an awful thing to say, but if you could see the hole in my soul and in my heart as a result of her rejection of me, then you would give me some grace. In general, Joan is, and has always been very negative and controlling. We had a volatile relationship from the word go. She's a very toxic individual. Part of her anger could stem from the abuse that she suffered at the hands of her older brother, my creepy Uncle Reggie. He was that uncle that everybody stayed away from, like every family member has one. He was the one who was always super inappropriate, who tried to kiss you in your mouth, right? You never let your kids sit on his lap. I found out about the abuse my mom suffered from a discussion with my Uncle Kirk, whom I love dearly. There's always that one member in the family who's privy to all the stories, who knows where all the bodies are buried. In our family, that was Kirk. He also told me that he thought my biological dad, Reds, was the only man my mother ever truly loved, and that was probably the reason why we had the issues that we had. My anger peaked after I discovered that Crystal and I had different fathers. As I got older and we began to clash more and more, I tried to get away from my mother as much as I could. I lived with Reds for a short period of time. I stayed with my grandfather. I stayed with my grandmother. Hell, I even stayed with my best friend. Other people have told me, and I tend to maybe think there's some truth to this, that my mom was and remains a little jealous of me. See, I was a free-spirited girl, and I'm a free-spirited woman today. I didn't allow her to control me, nor do I allow it today. And I'm sure that drove her crazy. I think, honestly, that she resented that I wouldn't let her change me, that I didn't listen to her demand that I go get a job at Metro for the pension. But oh man, she tried like crazy to get under my skin whenever she could, and it worked. Thankfully though, I would still come out on top, no matter how many times she was determined to break me. But it wasn't easy, not at all. It comes with a lot of tears, a lot of abuse that I would allow also from others. It was just simply my love language. Like, it was what I was used to. It was what I thought I deserved. At every turn, my mother seemed to take pleasure in sabotaging me. I'll give you an example. She asked my oldest daughter, Kelsey, a couple of years back, "So Kelsey, are you dating?" "No," Kelsey replied. "Mom wants me to focus on my school and making sure I'm really secure with my future and things like that." "Well," my mother said, "I don't know why she wouldn't let you have a boyfriend. I mean, she was always dating guys and running wild in the street and stuff like that. She shouldn't tell you that you can't date." Of course, this got back to me. Like, how is this helpful in any way? Like, she tries to focus on something. She tries to take the focus off of something positive and make it look like I don't want my child to have any fun. Like, why would I want to engage with a woman like that? It has sometimes been so bad that even Talia's therapist once told her that she needed to disconnect from my mother altogether. And she listened and stopped contact off and on. I've taken that advice myself, and let me tell you, it has brought me so much peace. Talia and I have asked our mother to go to counseling with us, but she refused, telling us that we were crazy. And every time we let her back in, we deceived ourselves into thinking it was going to be better, it was going to be different this time, but it never was. That's just the way it happens when you're dealing with a covert narcissist. Now, there's an established pattern of complete control, freaky game playing with my mother. The fact that mom is financially set is something that she has used to kind of like feed her games. Like, if she was going to offer to do something for you, she would demand that she call the shots. Like, you've got to get it done the way that she wants to have it done. So if she was going to get your house painted, it needed to be painted her way. And if it isn't, she'll renege on paying. It just never fails. She offered to get Kelsey a nice Apple laptop 3 years ago. A few days later, she changed her mind. What happened? "Well, I just don't think that you need it," she told Kelsey. "So I'm not going to put my money on it." I don't know if she felt taken advantage of or what, but if she did, she should have never offered it in the first place. We never asked, she offered. Same thing happened when there was a situation where my daughter lost a portion of her funding for school. We ended up having to pay for her college dorm. Kelsey was trying to work it out on her own without telling us. She was trying to do the adult thing, but she got herself into a situation and fell behind 3 months on her dorm rent. She was about to be evicted. Kelsey called my mother, and my mother was like, "Don't worry, Kelsey. You are going to be the first one in our family to graduate college, and I don't want you to have to worry about anything. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to put up my money and pay for your dorm." When my mom called me to inform me of this, I was like, "Well, Mom, I don't want you to have to do this on your own. Like, she's my daughter. I want to contribute. If you're offering to help, that's great, but I also want to put in something." So I did. Then she said, "Going forward, we'll split it half and half." Of course, a month into the agreement, as usual, she backed out. "I'm no longer doing this. You'll have to take care of this by yourself." If you're a grandchild who wants to get a car, unless you get the kind of car that she wants you to get, forget about it. She promises the money. 2 weeks later, she unpromises. Bang. This has happened more times than I can even count. See, Joan used money as a weapon to assert power and control, it seems. And everyone in the family has fallen victim at one time or another. My sisters, her brother, everyone. Stay tuned.